Hello, I'm Pam,
I'm John.
and we're not done yet.
No, we're not.
And it's Friday, so we're doing our Friday Frolics, which may be a bit of a misnomer, but we're frolicking. And tonight we're going to frolic down memory lane and talk about the important cars in our life. Um, I wanted to write an essay about that one time, and I never did. So consider this our virtual essay, since we're both essayists that never materialized, right?
That's correct.
So I'll start with my first memory of a car, and it's being in the car with my grandpa, Rupert, on the way to the bank. And I'm very little. We lived in their basement then. In fact, I went home from the hospital into their garage, which they converted into a bedroom for my parents. And it's then went back to being a garage. So it wasn't a fancy sort of rebuild or anything. I'm getting off track, however. So we were in the car, and Grandpa was a jolly sort of guy and very kind. And my recollection is that he's driving, and he has his arm around me to protect me. We all know now that it wouldn't have protected me much, but it made him and I both feel good. And it's like we're going through a drive-through. So I think we were going to the bank, but they didn't really have drive-throughs then. So it was probably the post office. But at any rate, he and I were in the car alone. I felt special and happy, and he was making fun of the way I said spaghetti. That's what I remember about that day. So that's my first car memory. What about you?
Okay, well, mine, when my dad married my mother in approximately 1940, I guess, he had a 1937 Ford Coupe. And that's a car that is just a two-door, and it had a very small back seat. So it's a great car for one person, and it's a good car for two people. But you get too many more in there, and that back seat really isn't meant for a lot of people to sit in. So when he got married, just my mother and him, it was fine. But then he had, in quick succession, they had 6 children in an 8.5 year period, and he kept the car. He couldn't afford to buy a different car. So when that was done, he had 6 kids trying to fit into this club coupe, they called, and that was kind of messy. No, of course there were no seatbelts in that 1937 car, but it was a nice looking car, and we hardly ever were all in the car at one time. But that's the first car I remember.
When you were all in the car, did you have a lot of like pushing and shoving and arguments?
I think it was really tight, and I don't know that we had. I think the quarters were so close that we had to sit kind of still.
There was nothing to fight about.
Yeah.
It was just what you got.
I only remember being in it a few times when we were all in there. So.
Well, the next memory that comes up for me is when my 5 brothers and sisters were all, I don't know if they're all 6 of us then, but a lot. And the family car was a station wagon with that fake wood on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we had a few iterations of that, but and what was supposedly so cool about it just sounds horrifying to me now. It's that back seat looked out.
Oh, the third seat?
Yeah, at some point we had one of those.
Yeah.
And my memory in those cars, and it was for maybe 2 or 3 times for Thanksgiving, we would drive to Michigan to have Thanksgiving with my cousins and my aunt and uncle. And we would get up when it was still dark, and we would be in our pajamas, and we would be driving there through Ohio and Indiana or wherever to get to Michigan. So that's my memory of sort of older childhood in the car. And it was relatively good memory because it was wonderful to go to my aunt and uncle's house. And getting up in the middle of the night, not so much. But
Yeah. Well,
what about you, childhood or as
well, my father died when I was 9, and so we never. After that, we never had a car. My mother couldn't really drive, and so we didn't have a car. I got my first car when I think I was 17, and I was still in high school, but I was working almost full time, so I had enough money to buy a real cheap secondhand car, and I bought a 1948 Chrysler 4-door, big old car from a friend of mine that I worked with, and I really didn't know how to drive very well, but that car I had for a couple of years. It was a decent car, but it was just kind of hard to handle. It was so big, and eventually I got a better car, a 1953 Chevrolet that was two-tone, tan and brown. I really liked the looks of that car.
it sounds nice.
It did kill a lot for some reason. I never.
Kill a lot?
Well, it wouldn't start a lot when I was
Oh, I
out.
thought you meant you ran into
No,
animals.
no, I didn't kill anything with it. But anyway, that was a car I had for a few years. I also had a 1952 Pontiac in there somewhere that I bought from my girlfriend's father and was paying him $50 a month for, and my girlfriend and I broke up, and I still owed money on the car, so I had to find, and we weren't speaking, so I had to find another way to get the money to him. But anyway, that's a different story.
Oh.
So yeah.
Well, I didn't have a car, buy a car on my own until I was 22, and I left Minnesota and bought a friend's car. But I wanted to talk about high school car, which you were sort of talking about. And I had one boyfriend in high school, and I don't think we went together very long. It may have just been sophomore year, maybe freshman and sophomore. I don't remember because he just was gone then. And so I think he moved because I don't remember any fights or breakup, but who knows. But he had a black and red car. And there was no reason why I would ever expect that he would show up unexpectedly at my house. But I was always on the lookout to see if down Parker's Lake Road would be coming this black and red car. And I don't think it ever came in for an unexpected visit. So that was unfortunate. But I do remember some makeout sessions in that car and steaming up the windows pretty much. And so it's quite an important car in my life story.
Do you think it came as a red and black car, or did he have it painted? Or
no, it was.
So it was a two-tone red and black car.
Yeah.
Wow. You don't know what make it was, though, huh?
Like, was there a Fairlane?
Yeah,
car?
Ford
it might
Fairlane.
Have been that.
Yeah, actually a 53 Ford Fairlane, I think they did have a red and cream color car.
Okay,
I don't know about red and black. So.
Well, again, memories can get really twisted. So,
okay. Well.
So that's my teenage car.
Okay.
So what's your next car?
Well, I had a car when I was I had dropped out of college in my 4th year and was working the night shift at Honeywell here and trying to decide what to do. And I decided to move to Denver. And rather than take the car, I just bought a one-way ticket, bus ticket, and moved to Denver. And I didn't have a car then, so I was walking down Colfax Avenue, which is a main drag in Denver, and this gas station had a couple of cars with for sale signs in them. And so I went in and talked to the guy, and he had a Packard, a 1954 Packard, which really was kind of a luxury car. And he gave me a really good deal on that car, so I bought it. It's probably $200 or something. Um, and it was kind of a cool car. It had this torsion bar set up where it would, if you filled the trunk with some real heavy stuff, it would rise up, and that was kind of cool.
That's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Huh.
I just did it to see if it worked. You know, I never had a lot of heavy stuff or anything, but it did have a fatal flaw, and that's why I got it so cheap. And he made it like it wasn't a big deal, but occasionally, fairly often, the reverse wouldn't work in the car.
Oh.
And so you wouldn't be able to go backward. And if you were in a parking space and you needed some room and you needed to back up, and that happened, you had to get on your back, crawl under the car.
Oh my goodness.
And trip this something in the transmission.
How much did you pay him for this car?
I don't know, it was $200 or $300. And he said, I was a skinny guy. He was too. He said, it's no problem for guys like you and me. We can slip right under that car and do it. And he made it, he's a good salesman. Mm-hmm. And I bought that car. And after about a year of crawling under that car to get it into reverse, I knew it was a great car. It was really fast and fun to drive, but I got rid of it. I don't know how I got rid of it. But anyway, that was an experience.
Well, I didn't have a car in college, and I commuted, lived at home, and then commuted into the university, and mostly riding with my dad. Sometimes I took the bus, occasionally I drove, but primarily I rode in with him because he worked really close to campus. And he, at one point, we must have gotten a second car or something, but it was a little black funny car with sharp edges called a Valiant or something.
Oh yeah, Plymouth Valiant.
But it was tiny. It was small as cars go.
Yeah, they were kind of a compact car.
And I remember riding frequently with him in that car. And he smoked back then. He quit in 1968, so about halfway through college for me. And I remember when he quit. He was a very sort of straight arrow dude and could be sort of self-righteous, not like anyone I know, but
are you looking at me?
No, I'm saying I can be.
Oh, you can be. Yeah. Oh, okay.
And he quit after my grandfather died of emphysema, or actually of the Hong Kong flu, but blah blah blah. Anyway, and one really big memory I have though is driving home with him one night, and we're on a big freeway, with just 10 miles, but all you could see was car taillights. And it was the first brownout or blackout in New York City. And that was being talked about on the radio, and it left a real impression in my mind. So after college, now you're an adult, you really, you got rid of the car that you slid under.
Yeah.
So what's your next memory?
Oh well, I got let's see. I think the next one was a small Oldsmobile that I bought out in Denver. A friend of mine's father worked at the auto auction, and we went out there, and it was a nice little car, and it's probably one of the smallest cars Oldsmobile ever made. But I had that car for a number of years, and I drove it. When I'd come back to Minneapolis, I would drive that car, and it was quite a nice car. And then after that one, I decided I wanted a sports car, so I got an MGA sports car, stick shift, convertible. And that was a lot of fun because I'd go up in the mountains in that car and drive around the curvy roads and stuff. So the only problem was it leaked oil under the passenger side, so inside. So anyone who sat in the passenger seat, I had to have them put their legs in just a certain position. So it didn't help my dating life any.
I can imagine.
So oil would leak on their legs. And I never figured out how to get that fixed. So
crazy.
So yeah.
Well, speaking of cars and dating, I'm going to go fast forward several years to when I met my now deceased husband. He had been for the last 15 years raising his 3 kids on his own and getting a graduate degree and working full time and, you know, working really hard to meet women and all this stuff. He was a busy guy. So he was driving a retired police car that had been painted a sort of muddy brown color. The back doors didn't open.
Oh,
And the back seat was loaded with stacks of papers.
from leftover from the
Yeah.
police?
Yeah. No, no, not from the police, just
From you and your family?
No, from him.
Oh,
So you see, I sort of, why would you in middle age get with someone that would be driving around an old police car where the back doors?
well, how'd you get in the back seat?
You didn't. No one did get in the back seat.
So it was a car for 2.
I guess, or they climb over the seats. I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe I've got that sort of screwed up too. I don't know. And then, but I sort of elevated his car sense. I was driving a Volvo at the time, and we bought him 2 different ones, both used, which he had accidents both times. People hit him, so those didn't last long. And then when he retired, under the guise of his retirement, we bought a Land Rover Discovery, and that was sort of the choice car for us and for him. Never quite have done anything that exciting with cars.
Oh. Well, I've had a lot of cars. I like cars. And as an adult, as a young adult, when I moved back here to Minneapolis, I guess I was 30. I was married and I was about 32. And I started up, I liked Saabs. And the Saabs were smaller at that time, made in Sweden. And they really handled nice. And so I had about 3 Saabs in a row. And then I couldn't afford them anymore. They got expensive. So I switched to Subarus. And then I finally got my dream car when I was about 50. I got a red Saab convertible. And I loved that car. Yeah. It's a great car.
Known you then.
A good Minnesota car because, they're built in Sweden and they're good in ice and snow. And it was a fast car. And I loved that car. I had about 10 years.
Did you get a lot of speeding tickets?
No.
No?
No.
So did you drive the fast cars fast?
Oh, I didn't. I tried not. I got a couple of speeding tickets, but I just like fast pickup.
Oh, I see.
Because then I actually after that I got a couple of Xfinities. Is that what they call them, or Infinities? Infinities. Yeah, and those were really good cars, nice cars, and big engines, fast cars. So,
yeah.
So I've had a ton of cars, and now I have a Subaru.
Yeah, and one thing that I used to think a lot about, because my dad was really fussy about his cars as he got older, and he would name his car was in our family was called the Hawkmobile. This is right up till he quit driving, was the Hawkmobile. And you couldn't eat or drink in that car.
Huh.
And we're not the tidiest of families, but we all, no matter how old we were, we didn't eat or drink in that car. And the last time we were visiting back in Minnesota, and we drove it, and that was fine. And then my brother and his wife took it while we were still there, and they took it to Iowa. And it was sort of sad to hear that the Hawkmobile died in Iowa and never made its way back to Minnesota. But I had been thinking for a few years what it must be like when you know that the car you just bought, or the washing machine, or the whatever, is the last time you're going to buy one. And I don't know how my dad felt about it, but just over a year ago, or maybe it isn't even a year yet, I sold my car because I can ride or drive his car if I need a car. And I don't really like to drive that much. And so I've done it. I bought my last car and I sold my last car, and it's not a big deal. That's all I can say. I thought it would make you feel like, well, whew, the end is nigh. It didn't.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So you can look forward to that. It won't be a problem.
Well, I do think about that because I really have always liked cars, and I'm just thinking I'll probably never buy another car.
So it does make
it bothers
you sad?
me a little bit. Yeah.
Well, you can always trade it in and get a new one.
Yeah.
Don't cry.
I don't think I'd get a new one. But.
And my last car was a Subaru too, and I did like it a lot.
Subarus are very popular in Minnesota because they're a great winter car. They have good clearance. Even the sedans have a little extra clearance, and the SUVs are really good.
Yeah.
And they track well in the snow and stuff. So.
And all the things that, one little thing about, just to go way back, those little tiny windows,
those little
the sail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to open to get ventilation.
Right.
Because there's no air conditioning.
That's right. I mean, things are so different now. So.
Yeah, we're kind of spoiled.
So I hope that I just think it's sort of fun to do a life in cars.
Yeah. They're so important to our lives. And,
they are.
And we grew up with cars and wanting cars and got cars. So it used to be fun. I used to love to see all the new models come out. And I remember when two-tone cars got more prevalent, it was always fun to see the combinations. And then there was actually three-tone cars. Dodge Lancers in 1955 came out with three-tone cars. And I thought those were so cool. They had one that was pink, black, and white. Different. The chrome divided the different colors. And they had some other colors. And I lived on a busy street, so I saw a lot of cars going by. But that didn't catch on. Not too many other manufacturers had three-tone cars, but I thought it was pretty cool when they first came out with that. So
the coolest car that I remember lusting after was when in my first job out of college, a person I worked with, she had a BMW, and it was the boxy ones.
Yeah, those
I just love those. And I loved the Mercedes, the sports version. Was it like the 450? I don't know. The little small ones, two-seater Mercedes.
Well, they had one with going. I don't know what those were.
But that's when I was first aware of the fact you didn't have to buy a car made in the USA. And so I bought a Renault. That was the first brand new car.
The highest maintenance required car ever.
Yeah, trust me. I had an accident on an icy street coming back from Golden to Denver one night, and I got a ticket for it, even though, there were no other cars around. How they knew I was speeding, I don't know. And was I? I don't know. But it took weeks to get the parts delivered by ship from somewhere.
France, probably.
Yeah,
they had a terrible reputation for reliability.
Even I barely had bought it, and I was fighting with the dealer. And one of the secretaries where I worked, she said, "I'll go with you, and I'll pretend I'm your aunt, and I will give them what for." So anyway, I hope that you can take some time with your buddy and talk about your life in cars. Yeah. And if you want to share some of those thoughts and memories that come up with you in the comments, it would be really nice. Yeah. We would enjoy that, don't you think?
Yeah, I remember my neighbor had a lot of nice cars, and he had a Studebaker, and that was kind of an odd car. It looked like, from the front, it looked like an airplane. All it needed was propellers, and so they didn't last too long, but people who had Studebakers really liked them. So,
okay, your last story can be about when you test drove the Tesla down 55.
Oh, I had kind of a crazy neighbor who lived in the condo I lived in before I moved here, and it was fun. But he called up the Tesla dealer here in town and said, "Hey, I'd like to test drive a Tesla. Can you bring one out?" And so this young, pretty saleswoman brought a Tesla out, and he says, "Well, can I have my friend who lives across the hall from me? Can he come along with us on a test drive?" And and we were walking through our parking garage, and this woman asked, she probably figured he had a pretty nice car, and she said, "Well, what kind of car do you have?" And he said, "Oh, I've got a Honda." He said, "It's right here." And he had about a 10-year-old Honda, and he's test driving a Tesla. So I think that she got kind of disappointed before we even went on the test drive.
Bet she did.
But anyway, I got to drive the Tesla, and I have to say, I wouldn't buy one, but man, that was the fastest pickup car I've ever driven. It was just like a rocket ship, just an amazing car, and no noise. It was silent. So that's my Tesla story.
Boys and their cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you made it to the end.
Yeah.
And remember to give them your speech about what they need to do. Like, comment.
Oh, well, thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you didn't like it. You can make a comment if you'd like to, suggestions, positive or negative. So hang in there. We're trying to get better. And hopefully we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.